Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 336, it's a welcome return of Mats Larsson. Ah, yes. Matt's got a book out, and yeah, he's here to talk about it today. Let's just say, the let's the rapid change of vehicles by 2035 features heavily in his book. Matt, how are you today? And yeah, what is your book about, sir?
I'm really fine, thank you. The book is about the severe economic and social consequences of the rapid change to electric vehicles, and
Mm,
it's actually the title of the book, so it's easy to remember. Um, and well, there are going to be really big consequences of making this change, and governments have not realized how big the change will be and what uh, how it will affect the global economy, labor markets, and other parts of society.
right, because like this is the thing. Okay, now look, I think we all judge government at some point in our life and think, what on earth are they doing? But surely, with regards to like this electrical car revolution, like what things have they overlooked, would you say?
Well, they've overlooked almost every aspect of economic consequences that will arise as when the sales of petrol and diesel cars will be forbidden, or the sales of new petrol and diesel cars will be banned
Mm,
in 2035. And the EU have actually decided to very rapidly also phase out diesel trucks, which makes the situation even worse for people who work in the automotive industry
mm.
and related industries.
Yeah, because okay, with regards to like okay, phasing out all of the like petrol, diesel cars, and like yes, with regards to getting rid of trucks, like especially in the EU. From what I've seen, like there seems to be a divide which is growing in Europe with regards to what sort of process to go down. Like pretty much dominated by the two major powers currently of Europe of France and Germany. Like yes, France more down the sort of nuclear line, I know, and basically Germany down more of green wind power, like wind power, solar power, like renewable energy sources. Like how like what how is this going to balance out with such sort of polar opposites attitudes to it all?
Well, it's difficult because the decisions made and the changes made in Germany uh, through closing down their nuclear reactors
Mm,
last year were have really had a bad effect on the German economy, and it has effects also on neighboring countries like Sweden, for example, in terms of um, electricity prices and the stability of the European power grid. So that has really um, far-reaching effects, and it undermines um, the German economy
mm.
and threatens economic growth, and it threatens job markets and so on. So I'm not saying that all countries need to go 100% for nuclear power, but all countries need a stable supply of electricity, and countries can't only rely on on intermittent sources like wind power, solar power, because when there's no wind, when there's no at night when there's no sun, you need the power, still need power, and you need reliable sources of power that produce regardless of the weather. So especially for a country the size of Germany, um, it's it's very important that such a big country can supply a large share of its own power, unlike, for example, Denmark, that a small country that can import a larger share of what it uses, and and they have been rather successful in changing to wind. But when a big country like Germany does it, it could imbalance, and it does imbalance at times the entire power grid of Europe.
Yeah, because like the thing what I think the thing what people don't understand, I think, with regards to like mainland Europe, the UK and everything like this. Maybe if you were born in born and raised or around in the 70s in the UK, the winter of discontent, where there was like power cuts and everything like this. There's been such a long period of just no like sort of breaks in electricity or anything like that. I don't think people realize how well, especially today, how much we rely on it just to go through our day to day, keeping fresh food, just working on the day to day basis. Our computers don't work, the internet doesn't work, telephone is everything. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I was going to say with the sort of addition of like dropping one thing and then adding so much more, because I touched on this with Coronation Street and the surge of power, like when we last spoke. How is this going to work?
Well, it it will not work. We are facing a future where the demand for electricity will increase um, for a number of different reasons,
Mm,
and huge amounts of electricity will be needed to fuel transportation systems, to increase the use, or start up a hydrogen economy. And the the production of hydrogen requires huge amounts of electricity. Uh, Actually, in the UK, 25% of your, well, say more than 25% of your, no, almost 30% of your current power production will be needed only to fuel all cars in the UK. So that's, and in addition to that, if you want to fuel lorries, buses, you'll need another perhaps 20%. So in total, 50% of your current power generation would have to go towards transportation systems in case all vehicles were electric. So, and that's not going to work unless huge investments will be made in both in power generation and in power grids and charging infrastructure. And governments, politicians have not realized the size and the scale of these investments that will be needed. Actually, calculations have been made. I think the UK will be almost similar to Germany. A Swedish professor calculated that in order to supply charging capacity for all cars along motorways in Germany, there would have to be a football pitch full of chargers every 60 kilometers along motorways in Germany. I think it would have to be a similar type of system in order to facilitate the regular charging of cars along British motorways as well. And these immense investments. No, but few people have realized that, as still only 5% of British cars
Mm.
are electric, and a very small percentage, even a much smaller percentage of lorries are electric. So people haven't realized the the sheer scale of the charging infrastructure and of the investments in power grids and the power generation that will be needed.
Mm. I hear that, and like this is the thing. I also think, like basically, for my day job, I work in like sales, event sales, and I do building services. And like one of the things, like one of the like areas I talk to customers about is cooling and heat back. Okay, now here's the thing. I think no one has really sort of, I don't think they've put the calculations together with cars and vehicles and now with heating. Because with the ambitious project the British government wants to do, they want to be introducing 300,000 heat back, like heat pumps, to like basically into homes across the country each and every year until basically we all switch over, that so the whole country switched over. Now, well, we've got a system of gas and electricity, and depending which way, who's built it or where you want to go, you've got the choice, and it kind of spreads it out. This is now purely going to be electricity. So you've got whatever a normal household demands on a regular electric basis. Now you've got like a heat pump now connected to this, as well as an electric vehicle. Uh, I don't know what the sort of if there is capacity to just do heat pumps. And when you're talking about 50%, where's the spare capacity to do electric vehicles?
Yeah, I don't have the figures for the UK, but I spoke to a professor in Germany who said um, a similar thing about the change in Germany. He said that the German government has the same type of plans as the British government, and that heat pumps in Germany would require more electricity than electric vehicles. So, assuming you need 100 terawatt hours for electric cars,
Mm.
and say 60, 70 terawatt hours in for transportation, uh, that amounts to 160, 170 terawatt hours, which is 50% roughly of the 325 terawatt hours you produce in the UK every year. So if they need more more electricity for heat pumps and electric vehicles would require your entire, perhaps more than your entire power generation in a year. So, and 325 terawatt hours, which is your power generation, that's the amount generated by 30 nuclear reactors. Now I know you don't have 30 nuclear reactors. You have other types of power plants as well,
Yeah.
and so on. But just to get a rough figure, 30 nuclear reactors, or like 100,000 wind turbines. So it's a huge amount, and in order to make these decisions for entire countries with the number of people up that you have in the UK, governments need to uh, do the basic calculations and need to understand these things, because it these terms are not very well known. People are not familiar with megawatts, gigawatts, terawatts, and terawatt hours, and so on. But it's not it's not more difficult than calculating pounds and euros and the conversion rates between pounds, euros, dollars. Um, so it's fairly easy to do, but very few have done it.
Hmm, I see. Because like this is the thing. We've been all like, okay, we've been sold this sort of like this green future down to one, ecological, and two, economic. Now, okay, with regards to the ecological, I'm a little like I'm a skeptical about it because the amount of by the time you've done the carbon footprint of bringing everything together for an electric vehicle into one place, I don't think anyone like I think they've been rather colorful with the maths to make it like isn't it wonderful? When I think it's like I think them like the amount of cobalt and everything like this, and by the time you've shipped everything, it's no. Um,
Mm.
but the economic, if there's like such a demand and power and they can't do it, like you can't bring it up, that means the price will the power will be there, but the price will rise, surely.
The price will increase dramatically, and of course, it's like having a swimming pool full of water. When you've used all the water in the pool, there's no more to use. And if you, I mean, at present there are not no huge amounts of power lying around that you can use for electric vehicles and heat pumps. So if you want to use some of the present generation for electric vehicles and heat pumps, or a significant share, you'll get you need to cut down on the use of electricity for other purposes. So it is quite. I mean, you can't just double your use without doubling generation. You have to face you will face a shortage uh, uh, di- at different times during the year. Most of the time, we're way below um, the peak capacity. So most of the time we don't have a problem, but at times you'll hit the ceiling, you'll go through the ceiling, and with an increasing number of heat pumps, an increasing number of electric vehicles, the number of these peak hours during the year will increase. And I don't know exactly, but with if you double if you convert 100% to electric uh, cars, electric trucks, and heat pumps, you'd uh, you'd face really serious price increases and, well, quite frequent shortages.
Mm. Because like this is the thing. Okay, when I was a kid, basically, like living in my house, okay, demands and power, okay, living room, TV, fridge, boiler, everything like that. That was about it.
Mm.
Today's modern household, look, but like, yeah, TV, phones, charging, computers, everything like this, that's a considerable increase in demand. So, like, I think, wait, like, just, I am no expert in the field. I don't know. Like, so, like, I'm just trying to make some observations here, seeing if it makes sense out there. Because if you've got all of this extra demand, like, and you're sort of like doing it on the calculations of what a household uses today, and you like go, you said we are what like we are below capacity. Like, like there is going to be a considerable energy creep because what capacity, what the sort of like demands today is going to be considerably different to what demands are tomorrow, if you get what I mean. Because
Yes.
like 5% of cars now electric. What does 25% look like? What does 50% look like? And look, frig, California. when they had to like put out a notice not to plug in your electric cars 2 years ago.
Yes,
Yeah, you, you get what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Uh,
no, please carry on. I was going to say,
yeah, yes. Elon Musk, in an interview at a conference called CodeCon 2021, he said that to uh, drive all vehicles in the US on electricity, the US would need to double power generation, and they at present generate 4,000 terawatt hours per year. That's more than 10 times the amount generated in the UK. So, but they also in the United States they drive twice the distance we do here in Europe. So, but so it really tallies. I mean, the differences make sense. And he said also that in order to do this and in order to be able to charge all cars, um, and the trucks, etc., investments would be needed in all parts of power grids everywhere, basically. So there are huge investments needed, and in order to reduce the need for investments in power grids, there would have to be a very large increase in the generation by solar panels, because solar panels you can install in cities where so you can reduce the need to transport electricity by generating more locally. So even Elon Musk has admitted that huge investments will be needed and that the power grids and power generation doesn't suffice at present.
but so in your opinion, does this actually work? Will this actually work?
No, it won't work. At the change could not be driven at the pace intended at present by governments. So, in order for to make this work, the change needs to be set on a pace that can be sustained, both financially and from the perspective of resource supply. I mean, a lot of people will need to work with these expansion activities. A lot of investors will need to make all these investments. Utilities will need to expand power grids or reinforce power grids, build um, new power plants, and so on. So, so a lot of activities need to be initiated that are currently not planned. And in order to make this work, governments would have to set a pace that could be sustained. Like from by 2035, we can have 20, perhaps 25% electric cars, 5%, 10% electric trucks, and we could then perhaps increase the share by 2040, 2045, 2050, and etc.
Yeah, why do you think there is such a rush? Because, okay, it was 2030, and then like a number of governments have pushed it back to say 2035. Why has there been such a like it must happen now? Like
I
like
think
narrative.
I think it seems like a way for politicians to win votes and to become more popular and to see more um, environmentally focused, like Greta Thunberg and other activists have criticized the inertia of governments, and the fact that politicians need to do more. And now politicians want to show that they are doing more, but very very few people, as I said, have made these calculations and have realized that these investments need to be made, and that the change just can't come about using the present amount of resources.
Mm. Yeah, like how can I put it? There's a difference between steering, like turning a speedboat and turning a tanker. And I think with regards to many of the activists in this world, which like, oh yeah, we need to do this, blah blah blah, because this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Uh, Here's the thing, like, yeah, you're trying to turn the whole planet around. That like that is a monumental mission in itself. And like in the developed world, and like when you're turning to like developing countries and like going, you can't use X, Y, and Z to advance your cause, like your country, because it will be polluting. It's kind of like you've been doing it for decades and you have the audacity to like stop us doing it because soon as you get energy, like using electricity, stuff like this, you start burning down forests. You like move on to new things. You start to upgrade. Things get better. But I can't see how you can just do renewables. It doesn't work in my mind. And like with regards to the this is the dirty, I think I mentioned this before. The dirty secret is you do need some form of nuclear power just to have the sort of consistent like thing like power supply. But there is, I don't know if you heard of a term called NIMBYs. Basic
No.
NIMBYs is not in my backyard.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah. Having a huge nuclear power station is kind of disconcerting. But there are the Rolls-Royce nuclear power stations, which are like meant to be, you can put on the back of a lorry trailer and move them
Mm.
wherever you need to be, which I think that'll be disconcerting for some people. But there is no other way, not unless if you start opening up coal power stations. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, it's impossible to avoid, well, the idea that we need some type of plannable, consistent power generation that's not dependent on the weather, uh, or the time of the day. So there and there are quite few um, technologies for that type of base load generation that are available, and nuclear power is the most potent source of power. You need rather few power plants and nuclear reactors to supply a very large amount of electricity, and it's really difficult to envision a society where we can increase power use so dramatically as the plans indicate at present, and not um, in any way also expand the amount of nuclear power. Um, so with move towards environmentally friendly um, lifestyles and environmentally friendly technologies in other respects, we seem to need also to increase the use of nuclear power,
Mhm.
whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, like I have, it's just, I don't see any other logical way of doing it. Like basically you have it's you either go back to burning coal or whatever fossil fuels, or you try to get as much liquid gas as possible, which depending like that takes weeks to ship over. The price fluctuates quite extremely. Or you do the nuclear option where you know what it's going to be, pump out electricity on a regular basis. Like people go on about the nuclear waste, which I don't know a lot about. Like there's some people which go, yeah, it's easier to store these days, it's safer and everything like this. Like if you had to like do a like you mentioned like a sort of rollout over the sort of next phase, what would you like sort of devise as a energy strategy to like yeah for the next say 100 years?
Wow, that's that's a big question, and there are just a few different technologies we can use, and so uh, nuclear generation would be, as I think, a key part of the future of the energy landscape of the future, together with, of course, wind power, solar power, and storage facilities like batteries or storage in terms of hydrogen or as uh, synthetic fuels, which could be used for electricity storage. But there will have to be a plan for the expansion of this, because all these technologies, or but most of these technologies, especially the storage ones and nuclear technologies, are very expensive, and many of them are in their early stages of development. So they are still very investment intensive, will be investment intensive to implement on a large scale. So there will have to be plans to do this, and plans for the expansion of electromobility and so on. Because let's face it, governments, they at present take the decisions to ban the sales of new petrol and diesel cars, which is a really big decision. They can't do this. They need to slow down the transformation and set it on a reasonable pace. So it's and by taking that responsibility, governments need to also to take the lead in planning the change and planning the investments that will be needed, because many of these investments will have to be supported by government funds in different ways, or government guarantees, etc., in order for private investors to be able to um, make these investments without a huge amount of risk.
Yeah, no, but this is the thing. Like, in some respects, I kind of look at the sort of now. This is where I'm sort of like veering away a little bit from the electrical vehicles and like, yeah, definitely down the route of power. Everyone's talking about yes, fusion, like the next thing. I'm I would have loved it if there was like, yes, maybe a charismatic leader who stood up, somewhat like Kennedy in the 60s and went, yes, we need to put like a great deal of like treasure towards this next thing. And then basically has like set up a project as big as the Apollo project, maybe even bigger, to basically crack uh, fusion energy, because that's meant to be clean, unlimited power, cheaply produced. Like right now, it's like, yeah, it's like it takes more energy to start the thing than like, but to get to that, and I think that would just propel the world into some next level. Because what if you got unlimited power? It's like, okay, if you've got, that's like almost unlimited water, because you could
Yes.
see, just like desalinate that.
Yes, but we also need to keep in mind that in the 1950s, when the fission technologies, the nuclear um, technologies we use today, when they were developed, uh, experts thought that they would be so inexpensive to use that they wouldn't have to meter power usage by households. We could all use as much nuclear uh, nuclear generated power as we would like to, and we know now that we can't. So and that actually fission is also is a very expensive type of power generation. So we may we have to keep in mind that we don't know what the price will be of a fusion generated nuclear power, and even though we like to we need to push this development forward, and it is pushed forward in test sites like the ITER facility in southern France, which is a joint effort of most of the big uh, countries across the world. Even China is a partner there, and the United States, etc. And so huge investments are made in fusion technologies, um, but we can't rely on fusion technologies to like save us or create the future. We need to, for the foreseeable future, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, rely on existing power technologies.
Mm, yeah, no, no. You see, like, I'll put it this way, like, yes, my lady's hoping like fusion technology can be like come to be. So, like, yes, we can build a space elevator, and yes, basically, yes, get off this happy place called home, like colonize the rest of the universe. Yeah, trust me, I've got to keep an eye on her. Yeah, give her a spaceship or a nuclear fusion device. She'll be out trying to conquer the world or the galaxy. Who knows? Yeah. Now, I have to take you back to your book. How long did it take you to come, like, bring this book together? Is this book number 7 now?
Yes, it's number 7. Uh, Yeah, it didn't take so long. It took me 3 months to write, and it's not a thick volume like 600 pages. It's 90 pages, and it just tells the most essential things about the uh, economic and social consequences. So it's a very slick volume, and it's and I put together everything I knew from having written the other books.
Mhm.
Um, some of them are more academic. Several of them have been published by academic publishers. Palgrave, for example. This one I put together and I self-published.
Okay. And with the book, what has been the sort of initial reaction to it?
Very positive. I've received um, large number of positive reviews on Amazon. It's only available on Amazon at present. I'd like to get it into bookshops, but anyone who'd like to buy it can look it up on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, or any other Amazon platform. But I've received. There are 25, 30 very positive reviews. It's rated 4.5 on Amazon UK, and similar on Amazon.com.
Like, yeah, it's one of those things like when writing a book or like bringing something to the world to help try to inform people, to help educate people, finding like finding the right people out there. Some must be tricky to do at times. Mm,
Yes, it is uh, difficult because no one has the task to actually deal with these things. Governments should do it, but they have just made the big decisions, and they haven't started to learn about um, this change and all the consequences and all the investments that need to be made. So it is difficult actually to find people who feel that they are um, responsible, or they have some stake in this. Everyone feels that, oh, this is important, but really that should be someone else. I'm not the person who should deal with it.
no, but this is the thing, and like, okay, we all have a stake in this. It's one of those things where, okay, if you if you ignore it, and like, yeah, it's quite easily with all the things which are going on in this world of ours, easily done. But when you like when I look at it and go, we are being lied to on a grand scale because look, it's going to save us money. Yes, today, yes, it is saving money. But recently, when energy prices went up, those new electric vehicles for some people didn't seem as reasonably priced as they were. And with regards to, this is how I see it, with regards to the demands of electricity and outputs, everything like this, building new infrastructure, that doesn't come for free. So that cost will creep up quite quickly. And when you've got no choice, but electric vehicles, then like ironically, anything which is a petrol car or a diesel car will also go up wherever you can like still manage to rustle up some fuel to get. Because it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay that crazy price. Now you got to pay a premium on that.
Absolutely, and it's not only about transportation. It's about the jobs, actually. If you look at well, at Europe, the EU and the UK combined, there are 14 million people work in the automotive industry, and a similar number work with for suppliers, business partners, and a large share of those are going to be laid off as a consequence of the ban on sales of new petrol and diesel cars, because just by the numbers, 30% fewer man hours are needed to produce an electric car, and similar reduction will be possible for the production of um, electric trucks instead of diesel trucks. So a large number of people of the people who work in the automotive industry at present are going to be become unemployed, and they can't simply start to work with the production of electric motors or batteries. They need to be retrained. But there are no plans and no facilities to train that huge number of people to take new jobs and to prepare for the growth of new industries like charging infrastructure, investments in power grids, and so on. So there is a huge migration going to take place in the labor market, and probably also geographically, because it's not, we can't be sure that the new jobs that will be created at some probably slower rate than the ones that will be dismantled will be generated in the same regions as the ones like where they have the automotive industry at present. So there are huge changes in this respect as well, changing job markets, changing economic geography, and a lot of aspects affecting our um, economies and our social life.
Hmm. Yeah, because when you say 14 million people in the automotive industry will be affected, is that just the main car developers? Are we talking all the suppliers as well?
No,
Because they like
uh,
you have a car factory, there's a lot of businesses which have to feed that car factory.
14 million work in the automotive industry. That's everything from managers to designers to uh, manufacturing personnel and so on. But those are the ones who work in the automotive industry. Then you have suppliers like mechanical engineering companies where they make parts for petrol and diesel cars, parts for diesel trucks, and so on. And you have additional numbers in technical consulting companies and so on that are not within those 14 million. So you usually estimate that almost the same number work in related industries as the ones who work in an industry itself. But all of those 14 million are not going to be laid off, of course, because all do not work specifically with the development of or the manufacturing of the drivetrains or engines or and so on. Some work with stuff that's not going to change as much, electronics or or other things. But in addition to the few millions that are going to be affected in the automotive industry, a few millions are going to be affected who work in with suppliers or business partners.
Yeah, because like this is the thing. One like when you say they found 30% efficiency with regards to electric vehicles, that is a huge jump in comparison to what is today. Like, how did they find this efficiency? Just out
Well, yeah, well, if you look at an electric car or electric truck, you don't find as many moving parts in there. You don't find a lot of motor details that need to be put together. You don't find the same type of drivetrain. All well, a combustion engine contains a lot of different parts that that generate a lot of work, but putting together a electric motor and installing a battery and connecting it to the wheels and so on is much less time consuming than making a petrol or diesel vehicle. So they don't need to find an additional amount of efficiency. It's just that there are fewer parts and um, fewer things that need to be put together.
it. I see. No, no, no. Okay. That is crazy. But yeah, like I think we touched on it last time. There is still the issue of batteries with regards to it. And yeah, I think I made mention to it last time that they had to like I was in a like expo, guy told me about a car which had to be written off because the battery was absolutely dead. And I don't think there is enough conversations or about that or about what happens when the battery dies out or what type of facilities would have to be built if you can sort of reinvigorate the like break everything down put everything back together to make a new battery? And will
Mm.
that on the same
Yes.
power level?
For batteries, once they've been used for like 10, 15 years in an electric vehicle, they can have a second life in a stationary battery facility where they can be used as a backup source where you can store surplus electricity during the day when they uh, when more electricity is generated than is currently used, like at night we generate more than we use, so we could store some of that electricity and use it during the day when the demand is higher, or in the morning, or in the evening when demand goes up. So there's a second life, and they could be used perhaps for 5-10 years more in these second life facilities. They could then uh, be recycled, uh, broken down broken down to small fractions and
Mhm.
be recycled, and new batteries could be made from the old ones, like we do with so many other things like paper or plastics and so on. But so that would be a cycle of, say, 25 years from production to uh, eventual um, recycling of the battery and making a new one.
No, 25 years. That doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad at all. It's just like I would foot like, yeah, but that's moving it from a motor car stationary, then breaking it down into smaller possible batteries from there. Like my thoughts would have been like, yeah, if you could like, okay, once it's done, then like break it all down, reassemble it into a new car battery, rather than sort of, yeah, having to go to many different regions of the world digging up more cobalt. And like, let's just say there are some parts of the world where that everyone has a little bit of blood on their hands. If you've got a mobile phone, tablet, laptop, or anything like that, and if it would choose as a rechargeable battery, no, there's no getting away from it because the source is the source. But if you could take that battery and then basically do something to then basically bring that battery back so you didn't have to go to those sources, I'd be happier with that. But I understand if it's not possible.
It is possible, yes.
Ah,
Absolutely, you can recycle the lithium in the lithium ion battery, and break it down, and with the other fractions of metals and minerals that are used, and make a new battery from it. Absolutely. At the end of this um, usage cycle, first life, second life, and then the third stage would be well, breaking it down into uh, pieces, and recycling those pieces.
yes. See, trying to find a positive note here, trying to find some hope here, Matt. Trying to find some hope.
Yes.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I don't know. Now, no, so with everything which is going on, 2035. Now, in your mind, when do you think it might, like 2035, it's 11 years away?
Yes.
Do you think it's going to be 2035 or say 2050? Or are we talking 2075 or something like that?
For to have to ban the sales of new petrol and diesel cars, and and sell only electric
Yeah, because
lorries.
yeah, this is the thing. I like as much as they say 2035 now, I like judging from what happened in Scotland between the Scottish SNP party and the Green Party, where they just simply sat down and went, no, we can't do that. no, can't do this. No, we can't do that. To like basically the partnership being dissolved. It's like I don't see like 2035. It sounds like a noble number, but I can't see it happening.
No, neither. I'd say I'd say 2050 sounds more reasonable, but I think we need to look beyond that in order to go for only to only sell uh, electric cars and entirely ban the sales of petrol and diesel vehicles.
Mm,
But I mean, nobody has done the math for that to support this um, change, and nobody has calculated the amount of resources or the amount of people who need to be retrained, the amount of people who need to find new jobs, the amount of investment that would be needed in power generation, etc. So nobody has done the maths, and nobody has even started to in a structured way make the plans, or even look at um, the realism of this, except for a few persons like myself and Elon Musk and some other people have tried to start to draw up a reasonable picture.
mm. I think it's because, well, um, if you, I think it's because one, the maths, if you put it in its most optimistic terms, don't work currently. And if you really, really went into it, the money which you're talking about, then like the sheer investment of it all would be so sort of astronomical. It would be like, okay, so what are you have willing to give up? Healthcare, education? It's
Mm.
like basically social services. Uh there will be like a either a severe cutback, austere measures, like yeah, let's not even touch military spending in some regards because like there's been a large talking about up in,
Mhm.
but the amount of spending which would be required, I think would like yeah, be like oh, it will cost this much, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pay off X amount of money, and there we don't know and it might cost 500,000 jobs or a
Yeah,
million jobs, but
I'm
we don't
still
know if they'll come in.
I'm still convinced we need to do it because uh, petroleum is a finite resource, and we need to prepare for a situation when oil will become more scarce. You've seen in the UK that oil production has gone down significantly in the past few years, and the same is true in many other oil producing countries. And there are only a few oil producing countries that are growing in terms of their oil production. And so we can't rely on oil forever. And there are not many alternatives. So we need to start to phase out oil and start to build electric transportation systems. But we need to do it in a sensible way. So I'm not against changing or building electric transport systems, but I just urge government governments to look at the big picture and adjust the pace of the change to
Mm,
what is realistic.
yeah, no. In other words, there is like come up with a plan, think it through
Yes,
carefully, and execute it well because we have no we have no choice in the matter because we will have to change sooner or later. Some people want
absolutely.
it to be absolute, like I can understand why some people want it to be sooner, but honestly, you try to do something too quickly, like put it this way. when I'll use a diet, for example, people like try to do a crash diet.
Hmm.
Crash diet works for a short period of time, like all messes up too quickly when it should be a long-term lifestyle change. So
Absolutely.
there you go.
I'm still working on mine.
Tell you what, I'm still working on mine. That's me. The power of cakes, my friend. The power of cake always claws me in. It's like no more cake. No more cake for me. What's that over there? It's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Would you like a piece? Yeah.
I can relate to that, yes.
Oh my God. I have no more questions to ask, my friend. I'm gonna leave on that ever so tasty cake-filled dream of mine and yours. Can you tell the lovely people how they can find you out on these internets?
Well, they can send me an email on mats@getinstitute.com. Um, find me at my website, www.getinstitute.com. Or that where you'll also find my phone number, and I'm looking forward to your contact.
Excellent, excellent. Fine, Matt. Talk to him.
Mhm.
Let's be that small army of change which comes up with a great plan to lead ourselves into the 22nd century and beyond. Who knows? I want that Star Trek future. uh, Thank you for coming on today, Matt. It's been a pleasure and honor.
Thank you, Muyiwa.
Ah, brilliant, brilliant. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us all the way to the end of the show. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic, be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Peace. Yes. And we are.